everybody. Today we have with us Amy Lenius. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the podcast Rise and Tell with Sheekha. I am your host, Sheekha Singh. Amy is a coach and the director of group coaching at Next Level University. She's not just that, she's a professional speaker, an event coordinator, a mom, MC, and Next Level certified personal development coach. Amy talks about the three pillars of fulfillment: self worth, self belief, and consistency. We had a great discussion today on self worth. It was so different to see the things that frustrate you from a different perspective. At Next Level University, she usually helps mostly women redefine success in a way that feels deeply aligned through clarity, self belief, resilience, and sustainable daily habits. Over the last 8 years, Amy has spoken on stages at different events associated and dedicated to health, healing, and personal development. Been featured on over 100 podcasts. She specializes in guiding women to reconnect with themselves, honor their cyclical nature, discover what success and fulfillment truly means to them, and live in a way that reflects their values and vision. So let's get started. Welcome to our show, Amy. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right, let's just dive right in. Amy, what can you tell us about your story? What's your story and who is Amy?
I love that. So my name is Amy Lenius. I work with and partner with a company down in the States. I'm from Canada, Ontario, just like you. That's so exciting. That was cool
Yay.
to learn behind the scenes here. And I partner with a company down in the States called Next Level University. And I work with two incredible men who found this company and are dedicated to holistic self-improvement, which is just a fancy way of saying we believe in growing into your potential in the quality of life you have, in your health, in your wealth, and in your love, because we deeply believe that they're all connected, which is why we love the word holistic, which is why I fell in love with them when they started using the word holistic, because I grew up very sick. And it took me a very long time to understand that holistic applies to our health as well. Our internal environment is a community. Everything affects everything else, and it interacts with our external environment, which is also a community that is interacting with everything else. And they really affect each other, I think, more than we ever give them credit for. And so I got to go on this very challenging but beautiful journey of healing my own chronic illness through just trial and error, persistence, and then getting the opportunities to speak into women's lives, trying to do the same. And that's where my public speaking started. I got to speak on beautiful topics and one of them was actually called holistic healing for your hormones. So it became very synchronistic later on, but I wanted to teach women about their health, their hormones, how to understand their bodies and their cyclical nature, so they're not fighting against their natural nature all the time. And that just proliferated out into, okay, it's really important to address stress. It's really important to address their beliefs. It's really important to address their self-worth, because I was hitting a limit with these women of, okay, I'm giving you all of the things that I have done that you can do for yourself at home, but we're missing something here because we're not able to be consistent, or we've hit a belief that is misaligned, or there's a self-worth thing there. And again, I'm just looking back at that through the lens I have now. Hindsight is always 2020, but I could see that I came into this healing journey with a good amount of self-belief and self-worth. And I can see now that that was the difference between me and these other women that I was trying to help. So I could show them that it was possible. So they built a belief within themselves that it's possible, but there was maybe an underlying belief that it wasn't possible for them. Or maybe, and you see this a lot in the chronic illness space, that there's this narrative that happens where you build the sickness into your identity, and then a part of your brain starts to believe, you know what, I'm actually not worthy of feeling good. So you will always reach the limitations of that as well. And so after partnering with NLU and working so closely with Kevin and Alan and learning more about self-belief, self-worth, how the brain works, it was really cool to look back and see, oh, these are some really powerful pillars: self-belief, self-worth, and the ability to be consistent and to set yourself up for success to do so. And so now I just apply all of that into my work, which I get to gratefully do through this company. And it's been a really fascinating journey that has progressed into all the things that make sense together. It's really neat.
Impressive. Amy, what's one of the common things that you've noticed among 90% of the clients that you work with when it comes to confidence?
That I typically end up attracting people who have high self belief but low self worth. So their confidence in what they can
Mhm.
achieve externally is very high. They have very high
Okay.
drive. They want things in life and they believe that with enough time, energy, and money, they can achieve the things that they want to do, but that they're not getting there. Something is happening, something is getting in the way. And it's because they have lower self worth. So a piece of them does not believe internally that they are worthy of that thing or holding that thing or having that thing or building that thing. And so I see that quite a bit. That seems to be the group of people that I attract. And I see it a lot in women as well. Women have very high belief. We feel we're very capable typically, but our
Right.
worth gets so tainted as women that it gets a little blurry there.
Yeah. What do you think of the fact that most of us have to somehow prove every day that we're doing our best and giving our best? Do you think, in your experience and after helping so many people, do you think that somehow affects what you think, like that drive to always constantly prove that, yes, you're showing up, you're doing it? Does that affect self worth in any way?
Yeah, it does. Especially, are you driving and trying to prove things for yourself or are you trying to do it for other people? Those are two
Mm,
buckets there. If it's a drive within yourself and you have high standards and you have high belief in yourself and it's you against you, that can be a beautiful game. You can do so much with that. But if it's I'm doing so much and I'm trying to prove my worth through external validation of other people, that's where it gets
right.
really messy, especially for women. Our everything is through this lens of external validation. Is she a good woman? Well, let's ask. Is she a good mother? Is she a good wife? Is she a good sister? Is she a good daughter? What does she do for others? How does she provide for other people? And that's when we get seen as worthy. And so it gets a
Right.
little, like I said, muddy there where we're constantly shown, whether it be through society, how we grow up, that our worth is external. And
Right.
because that is actually internal, it becomes very low, even if we're getting it externally, even if we're doing all the things, showing up, proving again and again and again that we can do anything. It's not building the worth internal because we're not allowing that to build into our identity internally instead of just externally.
Correct. Let's you mentioned a great point there. If you have the habit of setting high standards for yourself, then in my opinion, I feel that is one of the major reasons why women are burnt out
Yes.
all the time, especially moms. They have this certain standard that they have in their heads like, "Oh, I am a great mom if I have a clean house, laundry's done, everything's on time, lunch is packed, everything's just fit and like set and it's pristine and clean and all of that." But do you feel, is that something that's been taught to us, or is it something that we ourselves as women set those standards for ourselves, and now we struggle because we fail to meet those standards because it's just not possible to be 100% all the time?
It is not 100. Yeah, you can't be 100% all the time. That's the biggest thing that I hear is that I'm trying to just balance it all. I'm trying to balance the
Right.
laundry and the dinners and the kids and my career and all of these things. And I always just tell women, well, that's why you're burnt out right there. Balance
Yeah.
is this varsity, this BS label that we literally
Mhm.
can't achieve. And so when we switch it through the lens of harmony and flow versus balance.
Mhm.
Balance insinuates that we can be all things all at once. We can be
Right.
the epic homeowner, the amazing cleaner, the amazing chef, the amazing mother, I'm podcasting right now. I also coach. We do group coaching. We do all of these beautiful things. And I get the privilege to do all of these beautiful things and have the labels and the hats that I wear, but I can't be all of them equally all at once. Now, motherhood's a
Correct.
little bit blurry because that hat's always on. Am I mothering right now? No, not
Mhm.
necessarily, but I know exactly where my kids are and what they're doing. I homeschool my
Right.
children, so that's another layer
Oh,
of things.
yeah.
But I cannot expect myself to be like I'm not 100% mothering right now. I'm here, I'm
Yeah.
present in this. I'm trusting the momentum that I gave my children earlier, and I'm trusting the momentum that I gave my motherhood hat earlier to continue while I step away and give this part of me momentum. I'm flowing in and
Right.
out of motherhood into this, into again, motherhood. You're always a little bit there. So it's a little bit of a poor example, but it's that. And so if you're finding that you are doing all of these things, again, you need to ask yourself, is this my belief? Is this my
Yeah.
standard, or is this something I'm doing because someone else has put that belief in me? Someone else has put that standard on me. And then you get to go on this
Correct.
beautiful journey of self-awareness and self-discovery. I absolutely can't do all the things that I do and not have a massive laundry pile. I had to let that go.
Yeah.
Laundry is not
Yeah.
every day, it is on Fridays. That is it. Done. And yes,
Correct.
it is not Friday right now, it's Wednesday, and that pile is growing. But I need to be okay with that. I need to be okay because I need to understand what my priorities are. And my priorities today
Exactly.
are to do this. And then instead of doing laundry, I'm going to go take my kids to the beach. You know this. In
Yeah.
Canada, summer is such a short season. We can't swim
Oh,
all year
yeah.
round. We can barely swim for 2 months of the year. So we are going to take
Exactly.
advantage of that, and that laundry can wait. And so,
Yes.
understanding your priorities, what are you really prioritizing? What is the most important things to you? And learn to categorize them into urgent, important, not important, I'll get to it later, or maybe it doesn't need to be done at all.
Brilliant. Brilliant suggestion. I love that, Amy. And you know what? I've noticed this with my friends, and then some of my friends have kids now, and I see that they apologize every time. They feel so bad. I understand that not everything is possible at the same time. And like you said, not don't beat yourself up because you cannot be 100% everywhere all the time. But I think most of the women should know this. They should just stop apologizing and accept the fact and even convey it to their own friends that hey, it's not possible to host you guys, have a clean home, be a good mom, and also be a great cook, and then keep you guys fed, keep them fed, and entertain you all at once. I notice that so much the minute we enter somebody's house, and if they're like all over the place, it's so evident that they're trying to do their best. But the minute we enter, they say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Please don't mind the mess. The house is super messy right now, and there are toys on the floor." I'm like, "Why are you apologizing? And what for? You're doing an incredible job. You're being a mom. You're working. You're handling all these things. You're entertaining. You're keeping in touch with your friends. You're doing so much." A clean house or like that should be last on your list. And I just don't get that. Not just people who have kids, but even people who don't have kids. I work from home, so it's easy for me to clean up and have a good space or whatever, keep it ready. But when I go to my friend's house who go to office every single day, and imagine if we go to their house on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, the house is so messy, please don't mind. Oh, I'm gonna pick this up now." I'm gonna like, don't apologize. Why are you doing it? I don't get that. And I feel as friends of moms or other women out there, I feel like we should try to change that mindset and then remind them to not apologize because they're already doing enough. And I feel like that's something that most people forget. They forget that what they're doing is actually more than enough. They don't have to be awesome all the time. And actually, going back to your point, Amy, about hormones, I am curious, how does that tie to everything that we just spoke about?
In every way. One, I agree with everything you just said so much. And a narrative that I have learned to switch to is to say to people that wasn't a priority for me this week.
Yeah.
It's not a priority for me right now. I even had to learn to communicate that, like you said, with friends and close loved ones, but even with my parents. Hey, Amy, why are, the weeds coming up in between the cracks of your pavement? First of all, I think it looks like a lovely little jungle and I'm going to leave them there because I think it's cool. Secondly, it wasn't a priority this week. I do so many things. I'm not going to be out there weed whacking unless I absolutely have to. You know what I mean? Absolutely not.
Exactly.
So it wasn't a priority for me this week. And the way people receive that is very different than if you say, I know, I'm sorry, I'm going to get to it, or, oh, me, I suck. No, it wasn't a priority this week. You sound so put together in a way. Even if you feel like
Yeah.
a hot mess, that is okay. Most of us do. But it just sounds like you have your ideologies straight. You have your beliefs straight. You have your values lined up. The values of my grass poking up between the cracks of the pavement is 0%, zero
Yes.
F's to give in that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Now, are my kids absolutely fed and nourished and loved and going on adventures and things? Absolutely. Absolutely, they are. And that's what matters
Yeah.
to me. I'm going to skip any kind of yard work for the day to go to the beach with my kids. You know what I mean? And so it just shows people that you have your priorities straight and that you don't feel less than because you didn't give validation to this external thing again. Right. And so when it comes to how we're feeling, Now we can go for a week and just absolutely crush life. We can be energetic. We can tackle all the things. We have the mental capacity. We feel like we can handle social activities as well as all the things that we're doing. We feel great. We feel we look great. It's amazing. And then a week and a half goes by and all of a sudden we're like, oh, I am tired. I feel like a
Yeah.
potato and I can't articulate anything. And the whole house is driving me bonkers. What
Right.
happened to I was amazing last week. What is wrong with me? I suck this week. I can't stick to my workouts. I can't stick to my Okay, here we go. You are not set up to do so. You are not physically, mentally, emotionally set up to be energetic and the same week to week or even day to day. We look
Mm.
at men and they're the same. They have their own little fluctuations and stuff bothers them, whatever, but they're the same every day. Men are like the sun.
Right.
They have a 24-hour hormone cycle that goes up and down. They are the sun. You, as a woman, you are the moon. You are slightly different mentally, physically, emotionally every day. There's literal physical changes that happen to our brains, our guts, and our hormones that are happening that you just, if you can accept and learn to flow within that change and in those changes and say to yourself, yeah, last week I was ovulating. I was crushing it. I had the mental capacity, the emotional capacity to be social, to do things. How many times have you made plans with friends one week saying, I'm so excited. I want to go out. I feel like going
Yeah.
dancing. Let's go. Let's go social. And then that next week, that Friday night comes and you're like, I hate past myself. That was not a good choice.
Yes.
What are we doing? I don't want to go tonight, but I wanted to
Yeah.
last week. What changed? It's your hormones. And it's totally normal.
Mhm.
And so when you can even learn to make plans around when you're going to feel more social, more energetic, you're going to feel better about yourself. There's things we
Right.
can't control. If we have a 9 to 5, that week to week to week is going to look the same for our career, but it's not going to feel and look the same within ourselves. So even if we can go in with the intention of last week, I was energetic in my job, this and this week, I know I'm not going to be the same. So how can I just have
Right.
grace and understanding there and show up for what needs to get done, let go of what doesn't, and make sure I take a break and get myself a tea and have a little me moment because I need it this week. So it's just this
Right.
extra layer of self-awareness that you can live intentionally through. And it is a superpower lens for a woman to be able to embrace because then there's a lot less shame and guilt.
Yes, yes. And what about the factors that affect these hormones? So, okay, we've understood how they affect us, but what is it that affects them negatively? Because I always read that if someone has PCOD or PCOS, it's the hormones. It's
Mhm.
always the hormones. Go get your tests done, go get this supplement, that supplement. So, what are certain things that women can do, or anybody for that matter, can do to balance out the hormonal changes?
Yeah. It's a tough one because there's so many things that need to happen there. We are living in a lifestyle and a society that is actually very detrimental for our hormones. This high stress, busy, busy, go, go, go. Oh, social life, friends coming over, the house needs to be clean, this is. You're constantly living in a state of stress. So I think I'll take it through that angle. Stress absolutely tanks one of your most important hormones, which is progesterone. So when you're constantly in this state of high cortisol, which is your stress hormone, it's there for a reason. It's really important. It's really important that
Right.
we ebb and flow into fight or flight if we need to, into that sympathetic nervous system response, that stress, but we're supposed to flow back out. And we don't do that
Right.
anymore. We're
Right.
elevated constantly for the sake of keeping up with the lifestyle, the external validation, the things that actually don't matter to us, but we don't know that yet. It's causing so much stress. And unfortunately, even if it's one thing where we have a hard day with our kids, or maybe our spouse gave us that friggin' look again and it just like spikes your stress, like our bodies treat that like we're being chased by a bear. The response is the same.
Mm.
But what happens with you being chased by a bear? I mean, hopefully you get away and then you come
Mm.
back down. You're like, okay, I'm out of the woods. I'm safe. I can go on with my life. We're not doing that.
Yes.
We're not taking the moment to reset and feel safe and come down from the busy, from the stress. And so what that does is we need cortisol to stay there. We need cortisol to stay in our fight or flight, but we don't have an endless amount in our bodies because we're
Mm.
just supposed to ebb and flow in and out of it. It's supposed to be a thing and then it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But to keep us there, we need to have cortisol. And our bodies are so powerful that it's like, oh, we can fix that. I can absolutely give you more cortisol. I can change this progesterone over here. You don't need that right now. You don't need progesterone when you're being chased by a bear. I can convert that progesterone into more cortisol for you. There you are. You're welcome. And now your progesterone tanks and you end up with things like, PCOS, endometriosis was mine. That's the one I dealt with. And in Canada here, 1 in 8, it might be more now. I haven't looked at the stats in a long time, but 1 in 8 women deal with a hormonal condition like endometriosis, infertility, PCOS. And so
Right.
your lifestyle matters. What is causing you stress? I encourage women all the time to do a frustration audit, we call it. Write a list.
That sounds fun.
It is fun. I always make sure they balance it with a gratitude practice so we're not like looking at our life like all the time. So we got to bring in some gratitude as well for the things we do love and have. But the frustration audit is really important because we can go into it, and I encourage them to go into it with no judgment. If this frustrates you, don't let your brain talk yourself out of it. Well, I shouldn't be frustrated about that, and that's on me, and blah, blah. Nope, it's on the list. Total frustration audit. I want you to go from room to room to room, from person to person to person. I want all of it on the list. And then we're going to look at, okay, what can I control versus what I can't?
Ooh, nice angle.
Yeah, the things we have control over versus the things we don't are alarming.
Exactly.
We think we have more control over the things that we actually don't. And the minute we take a look at that and be like, oh, I actually don't have control over that, we can give our brains permission to just calm down a little bit about it.
Right.
Okay, how can I focus on myself? Because at the end of the day, that is actually the only thing we can control. What we say, think, do, believe, act, feel. That's it. That is our circle of control. Now, we do have a circle of influence. We can influence our spouses, our partners, our friends, our children and things, but we don't actually have full control over them. So there's very few things we have control over. We have very few things we have influence over. And then the circle that is in the external realm of things we cannot control is massive. And I don't think we take enough time to look at that. And so we're constantly trying to dance around things and control things we have no control over, and it's keeping us in a state of stress.
This is so funny because the other day I was wearing a t-shirt when I went on a walk and it said control freak. And I think I needed to hear this. I think this is, helpful for me. I don't know about the listeners of yours, but this is super helpful for me. I think I need to do that audit like right after this call. Wow, that's eye-opening. I never thought of it that way. Like I thought, okay, you're just creating a list of things that frustrate you so that you're at least getting it out of your system. But then when you say, figure out what's in your control and what's not, wow, that suddenly changes your perspective and how you look at things that are causing you this frustration and this stress. Incredible. I need to do
how
it.
you approach it, right? If you look at something, it's like, well, I don't have control over this. So how can I approach it in a different way that's going to honor my stress and what I can control and let go of the rest? And as you're looking through this frustration audit, then you get to decide, well, what's actually urgent and important here? What can be moved to later? How can I create a just to-do list that I can get to these things at some point, but they're not actually as frustrating or as urgent as they need to be, like, as much as they're weighing on me right now? It's this beautiful little categorization you can do. And it just helps you paint, I don't know, like just this lovely picture of a more empowered look at how you can run your life. And so that is one. Stress is a really big one. And so understanding what internal stress looks like for you, what is causing you stress externally, and how can you learn to mitigate that? And then how can you learn to have intentional moments for yourself every day? Now, intentional moments for yourself not only increase your self-worth, it's really important to do, but they also decrease your stress. You're giving your body a moment of, oh, I'm safe, and this is about me. This is a moment about me. And I know that a lot of you listening are like, well, I don't have time to be doing stuff like that every day. I don't have time to go for a massage every day, or, get my nails done, or whatever it is that feels like self-care to you. No, that is a once in a while treat. And if you get to do that, amazing. Go do that, of course. Power to you. I want something small. I want something so sustainable that you are probably already doing it every day. Just the intention around it needs to change. That this is a moment for me. Whether it's your shower, if you like to have a daily shower, it's your skincare. Mine is a tea. My first cup of tea of the day. I have many, but my first cup is very intentional. Okay, what does my body need in this moment? What cycle am I in within my hormones even? What can I use of these herbs, of these plants to give my body what it needs right now? So I'll cycle through that lens first. And then it's okay. What mug am I feeling today? Is it the black and moody one? Is it sunshine and rainbows? Today it was this like clear little thing. Here we go. It's
Yes.
intentional. And then I make the tea and I sit and I drink it while it's hot. The kids know that they
Yes.
can be with me. We can all hang out. They can be a part of this. But no, I'm not going to get up and get them their 50th snack right now while I'm having the tea. And then the rest of the
Yeah.
cups of teas are chaos throughout the day. But that one is very intentional. And that's one of my moments where I go for my little walks or things. But have one that you can do so sustainably that it doesn't take extra energy, extra effort to do every day. And that's going to
Correct.
set you up for success there.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. 100%. Amy, what's the biggest misconception that people usually have around self care?
The biggest conception is one, it's going to take too much time or money, or two, that it
Mm,
is selfish of me to take that time. It's going to take away from the other things that I feel are more important than myself. It's going to take away from my household. It's going to take away from my children. It's going to take away from my business. It's going to take away the effort and the time I could be putting into something else versus taking that
right.
time for myself. And so both are wrong. And the second you can heal that narrative and that belief in you, the again, your stress, your life is going to change, because women especially, we're constantly just giving what is left of us all the time. And it's
Yes.
wild and amazing and so impressive what women can do and achieve and give on an empty cup, in that state of fight or flight, in
Correct.
that state of high stress, and just go, 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 go. It's amazing what we can achieve. But it's not ideal. It's not optimal.
Yeah.
Giving what is left of you is a disaster at the end of the day and over time. And you are going to burn out and you are going to get sick or have something happen where your body is going to force you to rest.
Yes.
So if you can learn to pour into yourself, like I said, even just a little bit every day, and I would encourage a little bit every day rather than a weekend away once a quarter, or however that looks. The day is the stuff that matters the most. Then you can
Yeah.
start filling your cup and giving to the people you serve, to the people you love, to the things that you do. You're giving what is best of you instead of just what is left over. And it
Yeah.
changes the entire narrative of not only your internal game, but what you're actually putting out into the world. And I celebrate women all the time for the stuff that they do achieve in that empty cup space, but what they can do and the energy they bring to it when they're actually fulfilled is
Yes.
magic. It's wonderful. And
Oh, yeah.
I heavily focus on fulfillment. The lens of fulfillment is brought into everything I do, because women, they all have different versions of what success means to them. Everyone does. And I think we need to
Correct.
keep that narrative going, that success is subjective.
Yes.
And then how can we bring in fulfillment within that success? Because then you really feel successful. Then you really feel fulfilled. You really feel abundant. And that's
Yeah.
a great place to be.
Agreed. Yeah. I recently interviewed the art therapist called Rapinder Kaur, and she actually has a clinic here in Ontario.
Mm.
When I asked her a question, she said she gets so many clients who come to her and they always say that they're not doing enough. But then what she makes them do is she makes them write a list of things of what they're doing today. And then she reads it back to them and she says, look at this, you're already doing so much. And I feel like most of the times we forget that because we're doing it every day in and out 24/7, that we forget that we're doing so much. And then when we actually take time for ourselves, it's like, oh, wow, am I being selfish? I could use this time, to help someone else, to cook something, to do something. But yeah, I completely agree. There's another author that I interviewed, Jodie Bellman, and she wrote a book called You Only Die Once, and she takes a lot of clients on and she coaches a lot of people. So she said the same thing. She said one day a lady came to her and she said, you know what, I had nothing in terms of self-care, but I realized after reading your book that every time I park my car in the garage, I make sure I take 2 seconds or like 2 minutes to just sit and just block out everything from the day just so that I can be ready to take on this next half of the day with my kids, my family, and whatever. And she said, now after reading your book, I realized that that's so important. Those 2 minutes are just mine in that garage in the car, that she started to keep an aromatherapy thing, like a small little diffuser in a car. And then she has like scented wipes and things that make her actually feel good. And she looks at them, she uses them in the 2 minutes, and she feels great. So, yes, like you said, every time we think self care is supposed to be expensive or you have to add money to it or you have to schedule time or appointment, but It's not. It's how intentional you can be with that time that you want for yourself. Love it. Thank you, Amy. This has been great. I want to ask you the last question. What are the top two tips that you would give to our listeners or viewers in terms of self-worth and self-belief? What two actions can anybody take today after listening to this episode?
2. Okay, I'm going to give you 5, and then I want you to pick 2. Because
Okay. Sounds great.
typically people have one that they're already good at, or 2 that they're already good at, and then 2 that they're really struggling with, and then those are the ones I want them to focus on. Because even when I help people with self-worth, I give them all of these 5 things, but I don't want you to focus on all 5. That's not sustainable, which means you can't do it every day, which means you can't actually build that foundation of self-worth. So self-worth is keeping the promises you make to yourself. How good are you at doing that? Say you're going to do it. Do it. Give yourself credit that you got it done, and learn to do that with the things that you're already doing every day. Like you said, look at that list of all the stuff you're doing every day. You could be giving yourself credit for that. You're missing out. Give yourself credit for the things you're doing every day. If you write to-do lists, make sure you write the things even that you've already done and check it off to be like, oh, look what I did. It's really important.
Yeah.
Keep the promises you make to yourself. The next one is social courage. How courageous are you to be yourself, especially in front of others? Do you laugh when you find something not funny? Do you not laugh when you find something funny? Do you speak your opinion? Do you speak your truth? How authentic can you be yourself around others? Practice that if that is low for you. Next is boundaries. How healthy are your boundaries for yourself and others? Are you trying to set rules and control other people? Because that never works. Like we talked about, we can't control other people. You can only control yourself. So boundaries control you. If someone's being an asshole, you say, hey, if you're going to choose to speak to me this way, I'm going to leave. I am going to choose to leave this conversation. That is a boundary. A rule is trying to tell them to stop talking. You can't. You can't control other people. How are your boundaries with the people, even that are most important to you? Next is investing in yourself every day. What does that look like for you? It doesn't have to be monetary. You listening to this podcast right now is investing in yourself today. How often are you doing that? How well do you do that? How intentionally do you do that? And the next is comparison. Number 5 is comparison. Are you using comparison for inspiration? Are you comparing someone with the same lifestyle, values, and things as you, and they're ahead of you on the journey where you want to go? Then that's inspiring. That's beautiful. Keep going. If you are using comparison to a detriment, especially if you're comparing to someone who isn't even in the same ballpark as you, it's like me comparing my fitness to a 20-year-old woman who lives in the city with a gym in her basement. I live in the country on a dirt road with no gym even in my town, and I homeschool my kids. It's not the same game. I'm almost 40. It's not the same game. We're not playing the same game. I don't want to compare to her. I want to find someone who is also in my age group, crushing home workouts and fit and ahead of me, and I can be inspired. So of those 5, keeping the promises you make to yourself, boundary setting, courage, investing in yourself, and comparison. Which one are you already excelling at? Let that one continue to excel. What 2 can you put the next most amount of effort in? And go there.
That was mind blowing. I think everyone needs to note that down and then actually think about it. Thank you so much, Amy. This was awesome. I had a great time. And I want to thank you again for your time and for being a guest on our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I do believe time is our only limited commodity. And so when I get to spend it with someone like you, it does mean the world. So thank you for having me and letting me speak into your audience and for facilitating such a beautiful conversation. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks. Thanks. I appreciate it. If you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to comment or share this with a loved one so that we can reach to as many people as we can. As always, keep growing, keep glowing, and be yourself. This is your host, Sheekha Singh, signing off. Bye.